Alrighty, I was hoping to watch at least like a handful of ranked match replays before starting to talk about them, so I could have talking points ready to go. But you didn't have a lot of ranked matches in the recent cycle of however the game manages its memory data for replays. So let's just go through the ones that were available. So this is the first one that was available. In this is the first instance, right, where there's, like, you know, a clear opportunity. Now, I think that this matchup is probably pretty difficult, logically. I haven't played it a lot, but, I would imagine this matchup is annoying for Lily for a number of reasons, but this is a scenario where ideally we would want to anti-air this, but if you're not prepared for a DP anti-air or even a crouch fierce anti-air at this instance, if you're just walking backwards, you can standing medium punch anti-air if the opponent isn't close enough for their jump-in buttons to reach. DJ, if he did a normal jump into like a jump medium kick, it arguably would have reached you. Yeah, because he probably would have been about here, and then his jump medium kick reaches really far horizontally. So I would still say this is probably in crouch fierce anti-air range, but in any case, like, Lily has a great ability to just, like, be outside of their jump-in range and just do stand medium punch, which has no air hurt box, so you can anti-air with it pretty easily if you're outside their range, or just do crouch fierce. Yeah, so you did an action on block where you waited for him to land, and then you did an action. Now, you could have done it, I would have preferred to do it, like, closer to his landing frame, so like, once he landed, having him be forced to already be blocking a crouch fierce. So crouch heavy punch here. If it anti-airs, great. If he lands and it blocks, great. And then try to control that space. Either get the fierce into, you have like 5.1 bars, so force a drive rush guessing situation off of the crouch fierce, which crouch fierce would be better than back fierce for the drive rush guess. Or try to space out before he lands, so that you can get crouch fierce at the right spacing to go into the light Condor Spire, so that it'll be plus 1 on blocker or 0 on block. So that would have been a great opportunity to force a scenario and not be backed into the corner as much. And, you know, Lily is kind of a back and forth character across the screen because she controls this space really well, but not as well against a character like DJ who also controls this space quite well, so that's the main issue. But yes, Lily as a back and forth character runs away, gets win stocks, baits the opponent into coming close, and then locks them down with her normals, harassing them on block or getting her way in through her normals, etc. So, in any case, I think that yeah, taking the opportunity here with a drive rush cancel would have not been completely ideal because it would have put you at this low of drive gauge down here. But, so theoretically something could have gone wrong if you had done that and then guessed wrong on the mix-up. But more than likely you probably could have been able to either win the scenario or do like safe-ish pressure in such a way that it would make him back off and you could get the screen space back to the middle of the screen. And then you could use the distance from the screen to regenerate your drive gauge and harass with your buttons some more. Right, I don't have the training mode up because I'm currently watching this replay in it, obviously. But yeah, that medium Sobot is one of the big problems. Definitely. I don't know why you got hit here. I looked at this scenario. I don't see in your inputs what happened because it looked like you were just blocking and you did a delay tech. I don't exactly see how you got hit. Maybe you just accidentally held neutral or something. That worked out, but I actually don't agree with this decision. Not at this distance anyways. I would have preferred you to walk forwards a little bit and then jump and then dive. I don't like jumping, like, right after throw tech, because that's when he's in like the most ideal scenario to be prepared for it. And even if it had worked out, you know, it's not like as good of a scenario, and the dive wouldn't have escaped the corner at this distance. After the throw tech you have like some variability of your options, but again, so does DJ because he controls this space quite oppressively. But in any case, I don't like jumping when he's this far away from the corner without you moving forwards first. the risk if that had lost the anti-air or been blocked is a lot more severe than like the potential reward from it. Now this was another missed opportunity because there's like a little hesitation or something, maybe a missed input. Let me see your inputs during this. Yeah. So some mistake on the forward dash, which meant that your meaty wasn't clean, and you could have gotten the situation into your own offense, but yeah, not clean Oki off of that. Oops. No problem, miss punish. Another scenario where anti-air with crouch fierce, anti-air with stand medium punch would have been good. Or just locking him down with crouch fierce into the light condor spire. Or back fierce. I don't actually, it's been a while, I don't remember which ranges they space themselves out at, but... So yeah, let's see, more like back off, and then he approaches with like forward dashes and jumps, and then you like sort of tag him on block with that. Now his drive gauge in this circumstance is a lot lower than it was previously, so this is a scenario where I don't think it would have been, I think it would have been like more advantageous. You had more drive gauge, especially after the hit. This, I think, if you'd done crouch fierce drive rush cancel, would have been good here. Would have been an ideal scenario. You could apply pressure on block that would put him at like this low of drive gauge and restore some of your own. If you would put a gap and he had EXDP'd, he would have to put himself at like this low of drive gauge, which, if he's controlling the corner, is not necessarily the worst thing for him, but... So let's see. Other than this is just like the difficulty of dealing with DJ pressure. Not character specific, it's just DJ's hard to deal with in these scenarios. Oops. He probably could have converted that with heavy uppercut or heavy flash kick. I'm not certain what you were looking for there. It did work out. Maybe you were looking for a medium Sobot. But in my experience, off of this interaction, he probably would have either just done like stand medium kick, which wouldn't, or drive rush jab, both of which would have been safe to the DI in this instance. I do think there are some side switch routes that Lily gets that are like okay to do in this circumstance, other than just like the back throw. But I don't think this is a bad option, per se. Alright, mix, and then, let's see, what all happens here. Drive rush in for this mix-up scenario. Heavy. Right. Delay of 9 frames. Nice buffered heavy SPD. Alright, get some of your gauge back. Drive rush in again. Slight delay. Okay, so this is something that I can say that will be relevant. When you're doing these like slight waits for waiting for the opponent to press a button, waiting for the opponent to DP, etc., you want to delay a little longer than this. You want to delay for enough time that like you want to delay for like a second and a half, I would say. And you don't want to delay it consistently the same rate every time, but I would say, like, acting too early is probably worse than acting too late because of the likelihood. Now, if this was a different character who was going to press, like, a low-medium kick that would go into drive rush, instead of just DJ who gets a knockdown, that could have been a lot worse. But yes, I would say the rate at which people do delay medium buttons, you need to wait a bit longer for that, universally. It's like, that's a habit that most players have. That's like a default strategy they'll wait for a second with and then after a hesitation moment, they'll hit a medium, and your waits need to be slightly longer than that, or slightly shorter. So like a very little wait, and then into like a crouch jab or a crouch fierce or something, or a much longer wait. If you had back-rolling this would have been better. Back-rolling the knockdown. Yeah, you didn't input the back roll off of that. Let's see what happens then. That was punishable. Lily does have the slight advantage off of in this matchup only off of this scenario where she has a good range 6-frame punish for his medium Sobot. In this circumstance, I would say crouch jab into... I don't know if you could kill with a drive rush combo. I don't think you could. Maybe with level 2. If I had both, like, 2 versions of the game open, I could test it right now. But assuming that you couldn't kill off of this, I would say crouch jab level 1 right here. Like, you don't have wind right now. I would have said crouch jab level 1, and then the amount of time during the level 1, you would have regenerated up to, like, this much drive gauge left. And it would push into the corner, like, ever so slightly enough that... How close are you in the corner? Not quite close enough, but if you had done level 1, you could have done a heavy wind stock that would have been safe to a DI in the corner. And so you could have done more damage, put him at a range where he'll die from a throw, like a normal throw, or it might be, or he'll die from running into, like, a wind spire, etc. Like... Putting the opponent close to death is very advantageous in this game, especially if you're not spending too much drive gauge to do it. So, a character like Lily will often struggle to find good places to spend her supers, so I would say that that's a logical place to use level 1. I think that generally in this game you would want to fight for the first round harder than any other round. And you would want to, if you have the opportunity, you would want to spend any supers that you get for the advantage of getting you close to taking the first round. Because if you spend all your supers and win the first round, you can lose the second round and still build a level 3 for the final round. That was a little weird. Will this kill? It does. Okay, I misjudged that. I do think in some of these scenarios where you, like, catch people with counter hits and things like that, I think that just, like, the risk versus the reward potential, like, again, this worked out for you, but, like, if you had just done crouch heavy punch instead, you could hit confirm it into, like, drive rush cancel or just a knockdown. You could have gotten full combo. You could have been in the corner. You would have done, like, this much damage to him, gotten a win stock, etc. So, like... I think in some of these scenarios where you're at this dominant spacing for Lily, where Lily, all of her buttons are very good, her medium punch and her crouch fierce and her back fierce, etc. Just the risk of having your sweep blocked or DI'd or whatever else, or jumped, or DJ could jump and knee over it or whatever, versus, like, the reward that you could get if you did back fierce or crouch fierce in some of these circumstances. Like, you know... A lot of the times when you're landing these sweeps, it's not as a low, it's as a counter hit. And when it's hitting as a counter hit, it means that if you'd done crouch fierce or back fierce, you could have gotten way more. Let's see. I do think... Yeah, I think this is fine because you had full drive gauge, etc., so that was good. Generally, I don't think that Lily's EX SPD is strong enough compared to her heavy SPD that it's worth doing unless you need the extra range. But yeah, when you have full drive gauge, it doesn't matter as much. But yeah, a slight mistake on that. Let me see what you were trying to do. There's one thing that I'll demonstrate in a bit. There's one thing that I think Lily players could do more frequently, which is off of the command grab Oki, drive rush forward heavy punch, and then either look to single hit confirm it on hit, or just leave it at the -1 that it is, because it'll actually leave Lily a lot closer to the opponent than doing Crouch Fierce or whatever, and she's still, like, within the range that her buttons are very dominant and very annoying for the opponent to deal with, and it would force the opponent to move backwards farther. So I do like Drive Rush Forward Heavy Punch off of SPD in some circumstances. There's a couple instances where he's whiffed things like Forward Medium Kick or Medium Sobot that would have been nice, like Crouch Fierce Whiff Punishes places. It's good to... Lily's convenient as a character for whiff punishing because, one, you don't need it to be a confirmed whiff punish. So even if you're too late and the opponent just blocks it, it's still advantageous for Lily to make them block Crouch Fierce. And she can just take that extra drive gauge that she builds and drive gauge damage to the opponent. And she has a couple of options off of it. But yeah, I would say, like, Lily is convenient in the whiff punish game because she has, like, one button. She's a one-button character, so you can very easily autopilot regardless of what whiffed or what distance it's at to the same button every single time, which makes your reactions a little bit easier. But yeah, if you had done... The DI was in response probably to a scramble because you weren't expecting the Crouch Fierce to whiff. Your mistake on the timing for the meaty. But it does put you in a very heavy drive gauge penalty, so that decision did put you at a significant disadvantage. It costs 1 bar, but with the extra delay before you can start regenerating drive gauge again, it really realistically puts you, like, here. Like, at 1.6. And then, but if you had reacted to this whiff, even if you didn't get the whiff punish, if you just done Crouch Fierce and he had blocked it, you would have been up to here. You would have been back up to here, so you would have been a lot safer. Another kind of scrambly situation. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what you were looking for. I'm not sure what he was looking for either. Both probably made slight errors. In this circumstance, I would say just hold up back. Like, literally just after you block this, like, fireball, just hold up back for Lily. It's, like, you have plenty of screen space. And, yeah, it's not the best. Lily has the additional option of being able to just neutral jump, which I would advise in this matchup. Just, like, neutral jump at a distance, and then if he throws a fireball, then dive and punish it. Neutral jump should be very good against a lot of the things that he's likely to do. And one of the ways that they nerfed his jumping knee, which he's done a couple times, his jump knee shot, is that it no longer hits as high into the air. So even if he does that, it's less likely to tag you, and your neutral jump should be able to tag it and float him, and then you would be able to get a conversion off of that. So neutral jump would let you look for his fireballs and condor dive them. It should let you go over a lot of his stuff, and it would also test him and his ability. If he does a raw drive rush at you, it would test how well he can react to your neutral jump and react with a drive rush back heavy kick anti-air, which not a lot of players are going to have the wherewithal to do in those circumstances. So yeah, neutral jump, very good for Lily in this matchup. That scenario, I would say one thing that you can incorporate more is if you just check the opponent suddenly, like if you just get a quick check, just rob them. Just straight up rob them immediately. Don't try to combo off of your lights, especially if you don't have, like, drive gauge or wind. If you had wind, then yeah, I would say just do a light combo into the wind and then take the knockdown in the Oki. But if you don't have wind, I would say just tag them with a light and then immediately SPD them while they're surprised that they just got interrupted. Just immediately SPD them, and then that will work like 80% of the time or more. Yeah, there we go. While you're in this circumstance, just in burnout in this scenario, I would say just like the risk of jumping forward, at least in this scenario, is that if DJ anti-airs you, it has so much corner carry that you'll basically be in the corner, and that's really bad with burnout, especially against DJ. That's the biggest threat with DJ, is being burnt out in the corner against him. So I would say just like sit here in this space and just like throw in some of your normal neutral buttons, try to bait him into coming closer, and then throw in some like light or medium condor spires to stop his forward approach. Another gamble. Nice. That probably could have killed with, which input did you do? I think you did light. Yeah, probably could have killed with medium. Now, in that matchup, right until the very end, you did not have a lot of wind throughout the entire match. And that would say something about, like, the way in which you were playing, because every time you often gave him up too much space by, like, backing off in such a way, but you can't really do that against DJ, because if you back off too much, he'll just chase you down, or he'll throw heavy fireballs that'll just keep you blocking or parrying at full screen. So, not as good of an option to, like, give DJ that much space. And yeah, you won't be able to like run away from DJ and get win stocks from a safe distance. You kind of have to, if you're going for win stocks, you kind of have to play in the footsies with him and get win stocks off of hits, or do crouch fierce into like the gambling on block of whether or not he's going to DI your win thing, or if you bait him out, etc. Which, alright, and replay. Next. Turn on my fan. Is this the same one? Oh, no, it's not. He just started the same way. Yeah, when you're at this distance, you don't have, like, anything that Lily can do. Like, not legitimately, and, like, DJ's anti-air goes like 1,000,000 miles and is incredibly valuable for him because he gets straight Oki and straight corner carry. So, but there's nothing else you could like really threaten, and again, it's way too risky to try to get win stocks by backing off against DJ. So there's no like legitimate threat. If you were looking for a fireball, again, I would say stay closer and just neutral jump like here to look for fireballs. That's like your best option. So yeah. This space, not good. Backing out to this range, not good. And the jump, especially at this distance, not good. He just messed up. Lucky. Let's see. It's been so fucking long. I don't remember if there's like a better route to do, a better combo you could have done that would have had like a more advantageous situation. I would say probably just take the opportunity to get some win stocks. Like, rather than doing heavy DP, do, like, heavy win stock, and then get a light win stock so that you just build it up in case you go back to neutral again, which you probably will. And just because it's convenient, so, yeah, I would say that into forward fierce. Actually, sorry, not forward fierce. You would do, ideally you would do stand fierce, back fierce, because back fierce would do more damage than forward fierce, and then into the heavy win stock thing. The medium punch that you did, I don't know the value of. I think, again, Lily, not a complex set of tools. Crouch fierce is going to be the go-to most of the time. The standing medium punch wasn't going to really do anything that the crouch fierce wouldn't have done better. So yeah, I mean, you don't have to overthink it. Just like do lights or crouch fierce the majority of the time. Nice. Okay, again, that's another scenario where I think that taking the stand fierce punish counter would have been better. Because, you know, the command grab with the scaling is only going to do so much, and you would prefer to get the Oki and the win stock. So again, I would say stand fierce, back fierce, heavy stock, and then do a forward dash for Oki in the corner. Would have been better. Again, that's not, like, that's the range that's, like, not great, where there's not, like, a ton of stuff that you're going to threaten with, especially when you haven't built any win stocks, and then jumping in this range is, like, there's no merit to it. There's no mix here. He's not looking for anything else. Again, you have to think of, like, what the opponent is going to be keeping their eye on. When you don't have win stocks, they have no reason to be that focused on the ground game until you force them to have to focus on the ground game. So, like, again, like, an opponent can keep, like, any number of theoretical things that they're looking for in their head at the same time, but not all together. So, an opponent can look for, against a normal character, not like Lily, but like a normal fast character, like against Ken, right? If you're just in the footsies range, you can look for checking the drive rush. You can look for checking the heavy dragon lash. You can look for the anti-air on the jump, and you can look to whiff punish in case he whiffs a button. Those are 4 things that you can look to do. You cannot, a human not really able to do all 4 of things at the same time. So they can maybe probably do 2 or 3 of them, but there's going to be at least one of those options that they're not having their brain on at that moment. So when you think about it like that, with the mental stack of what the opponent could possibly have their focus on that would take away from the rest of their focus, in this situation, he doesn't have to react to a wind thing. And even if he did, this is one of the troublesome matchups where if you did have wind stock and you did do Condor Spire, he would just stay crouch blocking because he could flash kick. He could flash kick that as well. Frame 1 air invulnerable. So he would be able to use the same level of focus and the same option to beat both Jump and Condor Spire. So you can't really affect his mental stack in that way, in a way that would, especially when you don't have wind, in a way that would make it so he won't anti-air. Which means that the only way that you can break his focus on that and take advantage of his focus on that and his preparation for that is by encroaching more onto his space. Drive rush all the way up for an Drive rush, buffered light SPD, drive rush, crouch jab SPD, etc. Or just move forwards into footsie's range and harass him with buttons that will shave off his drive gauge, and then when you have enough drive gauge, cancel the crouch fierce on block into a mix, etc. See, that like, great autopilot situation for you in this situation. Like, jump over this, and then just neutral jump. Neutral jump here. What the fuck is he going to do about it? He's not going to do anything. Most likely, he's going to try to control this space with, like, a medium Sobot or another Fireball, both of which you would beat with a neutral jump here. Again, at this space, the only reason you would back off this far would be so that you can jump over his Fireball at a safe distance, but then you have to take advantage of that. Instead of just, like you can't just, there's no other merit to backing off again. But yeah, you know, like, Lily's strongest advantage, the strongest thing about her is, like, the range plus speed plus utility and cancelability of her long buttons, especially her crouch fierce and back fierce. So if you're not leveraging that in the way that you're playing, it is a big, opportunity cost. So yeah, again, like, the forward jump in this, not meritus. No real benefit. Nice anti-air. Again, I'm trying to remember my routing. I would imagine that Lily probably could have killed here. But I'm not sure off the top of my head how. Like, how that would have been convenient and realistic. Alrighty, next. Alright, worked out that time. Alright, you did that, and then you back off for a second. Alright, I don't dislike that. Maybe giving him a bit too much respect in some of these instances, because he's starting to catch on to your walkbacks with, like, these lows and things like that. Now, DJ, his crouching light kick, not very threatening, because it doesn't convert into his other things it has a lot of pushback, so it's hard for him. His crouching medium kick is, like, he can't do it too close, because it's -6 on block, and he can't cancel it. And even if it does hit, it's only a knockdown, so his threat of lows when you're just walking back like that is not that great, but even so, he's still catching on and throwing in these lows when you're walking back. Even the previous interaction, he did do a low, it's just you had already gotten out of that space anyway, so if he had done a crouching medium kick, it would have tagged you. So I think a bit too much respect in some degrees, and I think you can harass him with more, like, light buttons, and then put, like a light command grab, light command grab, light, or light crouch fierce, raw crouch fierce, normal throw. I would say do a lot of normal throw if they're respecting this immediate situation. Again, the walkback is, like, limited in this situation because if he does do a delay tech, you can't escape it. Let me see what your inputs were here if you did a delay tech. No, you didn't. So if he had done a delay tech, like a delay back throw, he would have thrown you here. So that is like a point where some of your offensive sequences that you do in this situation could be a bit more situationally refined. And also, you can gamble with a bit more confidence. It's not about, like, not doing risky options with too great a frequency. It's more about, in other situations, having the confidence to be right in a way that will reward you. So, like, it's not that, you know, if you command throw too much, it's risky. It's more that you have to do other options with enough confidence, too, that you'll punish them for trying to escape the command throw. And so, yeah, you could have done, like, a slightly delayed button here, and it would have been, and it probably would have caught him. But more significantly, I think you can just take the frame trap here, stand light, crouch jab, and then, you know, whatever else. That was nice. Alright, nice. In this situation, I don't think there's a merit to doing the EX command grab. I would have just said heavy. The loss of the drive gauge is a lot worse than, like, the slightly extra damage and super that you generate from it. So, yeah, I would have just said heavy command grab here. There's no other functional value that EX SPD gives you in that circumstance. And you would have had full drive gauge pretty much off of the heavy SPD, and then you could drive rush and put him in a much more dangerous blending situation afterwards. Like, you'd have done, like, that much damage, and then you could drive rush in, and, like, if you land a single strike, you would have had full drive gauge, so you could drive rush in, and if you apply pressure and land a single strike afterwards, you could probably convert into a route that would give you level 3 for the kill. That probably was more risky than its own good, because if you had gotten back throwed, you could have still died in that round. While in burnout. Especially if you are not entirely confident with how to deal with DJ's burnout pressure in the corner. This, again, it's a situation where I would not recommend doing Wake Up Level 3 when you're at full drive gauge, because even in the best case scenario, like, it's not going to help you regen drive gauge. Like, you lose, like, a huge part of the value of a level 3 by doing that. So, if you're going to Wake Up Reversal, I would say, at this distance especially, just do Wake Up Drive Reversal. If you're at full gauge. Mid-screen, it's great, because, especially if the opponent is not, like, point-blank range. You can do Wake Up Drive Reversal, and most likely it'll tag him, and even if it doesn't, it'll be at such a great distance that he won't have a very good punish to it, or at least, like, anywhere near as much as if he had punished a level 1, level 2, or level 3. And the other issue is that Lily does not get Oki or even a legitimate win stock. She doesn't get anything off of her level 3 other than just the damage and the drive gauge that it would have regenerated you. So in that circumstance, level 2 would have been better because it would give you Oki. And it would have lost to fewer things, like in case he jumped. Yeah, if level 2, you could get a real win stock, or you could drive rush across the screen afterwards. But in general, I would say at full drive gauge in this scenario, just do like wake up drive reversal, and then save your supers for when they'll regen drive gauge. I mean, I think the fact that it hit leaves you in a very good scenario, but the theoretical risk in case it did not hit, and Wake Up Drive Reversal is more likely to hit because it doesn't have the screen freeze that will let them just see it in case he didn't take an action. Let's see, I zoned out. What's going on? Right, now he's kind of like being weird about it. Okay, that was the first time you did Crouch Fierce into the win stock against this guy. Oh, you actually did the wrong one. You did heavy, it looks like, instead of medium. Yeah, so I think that was just a combo drop from doing the wrong special, but... I like this general approach. That being said, I don't think, like, doing this, like, build this and then do the EX is necessarily good. I think, in this circumstance, the right decision on this guy's part would have been to drive reversal this, and then he would have won the scenario in terms of drive gauge. So yeah, I think that, like, you know, if you do the EX1 just to force a mix-up scenario, one, I don't think you have to with this big of a life lead. I think you can just make the space obnoxious, make him block a couple of heavies, make him fight for space, etc. But yeah, I think that using the EX to put yourself low on drive gauge, especially when there's an inherent risk that you take by putting yourself too close, because again, you can't shimmy in this situation. You would have had to do a neutral jump or back jump to avoid the shimmy, which means that you risk on some level being hit by a CA in case you hit a button and you get hit. So I think that just in this situation, just holding on to your lead in the neutral and then holding on to your win stocks as well would have been better. Holding on to your win stocks and your drive gauge, and then, yeah, making it so that he has to take risks and fight for awkward space. But again, this is another one of those scenarios, like, once again, where you did the win thing, and then you walked backwards and didn't do a delay tech, and then this time you got back thrown for it, like I was saying. Alright, this space that you're playing at, like, I want you to encroach in this space, at least. And then just, like, kind of block in this space. Like, you want to be in a space where, like, you can throw out... I actually don't disagree with what you did there. I think you did a light Condor Spire. I don't disagree with the action. And in fact, I think if you had not done that, his Sobot would have whiffed at this range, and then you could have whiff punished it. But yes, currently we are in a semi-detrimental situation because of, again, the EX Condor Spire they did earlier, which put us at half drive gauge and put us in the corner from the back throw scenario. So everything that went wrong from us having a huge advantage was because of that EX Condor Spire into nothing. Oops. You know, very, very, very lucky, and I don't agree with the drop in this circumstance. I think if you're out of range, okay, one, I don't agree with the drive rush cancel on this. I think in this circumstance, just take the just do the EX. Do the EX for a bit of corner push and knockdown and not cost as much drive gauge. You couldn't have killed with anything that you did, and even with a better combo off of the drive rush cancel, it would have still put you in a worse scenario than was worth it. So I would say off of this, yeah, EX Condor Spire, just get the knockdown in some space, spend a bit less drive gauge, and then yeah, and then your kind of panic DI in this circumstance. Again, I don't hate it because you're in mid-screen and it's a weird, awkward situation where he's probably not going to counter it. I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. Especially not... Mostly I don't love it because you were quite low on drive gauge. So even if he had just waited and it had been blocked, you still would have been in a very bad situation. Alright. Jamie. Ah. Yeah, you give a lot of space. And again, this is another character I think it would probably be difficult to like run away, like get win stocks from full screen. Jamie's another kind of hit and runny character, which means that because he also wants to get drinks at full screen, but he also has ways of moving forwards very quickly. So he's a character where it would probably be unpredictable to figure out when you're at a safe distance to get win stocks. And yeah, another missed opportunity. You've got quite a few situations where you have a solid hit, and then you're doing like the wrong conversion or a slight drop, or like so a bit like more muscle memory practice and refinement in just running those scenarios in training mode. Just literally replicate the scenario that happened in the match, and then just do it like mindlessly a couple times in training mode, and like, you know, shore up your hands that sometimes get indecisive about the correct routing. There, I like that. I mean, again, I would have preferred an anti-air on these jumps because, you know, but when you did an anti-air, I do like that. Yeah, definitely like that. So one of the biggest problems probably in the footsies of this match would be Jamie's sweep, I would imagine, because, what is it? It's -11, I think Jamie's is, which means that Lily does not get very good options to punish it. She's not good at punishing sweeps. That one, again, I don't necessarily agree with this one. Again, it did hit, but it hit because he was holding up, and if you had done a crouch... riskier than it's worth it. If you had done a wake-up DI, it would have been blown up, and you had enough drive gauge that you could have just done, like, Fierce into another drive rush or forward heavy punch or anything else, and I don't think the value, even if it works out, is, like, logical for a lot of these sweep placements. Like, sweep should more or less be, like, a last resort of footsies, to like tag some scenarios where just her heavy punch buttons are not cutting the job, but you're often backing out to ranges where it's not necessarily that relevant, or again, another bad conversion. Looked like you sort of didn't know what the right conversion was here. So yeah, another just put the scenario in training mode and like muscle memory your hands into that. Again, Lily, like any grappler character, like the most important thing that you need would be consistency, because you want to be getting your, especially your combos into corner carry and set play, you want to be the most consistent thing, because like messing up a combo like this is the difference between getting brutal Oki, where your grapplerness will absolutely destroy them, or like losing the Oki scenario and getting something kind of mediocre. Alright, I don't dislike this. Let's see, what happened here? Right, block that, that's fine. Punish? Okay. Let's see. Alright, so he doesn't anti-air the jump. And then you do a crouch fierce. In this circumstance, I'm like of two minds of whether or not just do the drive rush cancel here and force a mix-up. I do think it's probably worthwhile. Again, I don't love like the back walking, especially because like his biggest threat, Jamie's biggest threat in neutral is going to be his sweep. So I would say, like, rather than giving up space, just like crouch block here, and then just do like a delayed crouch fierce or see what he does, etc. And then that would give you a lot of good options. Yeah, that's the difficulty of wind in this matchup. I don't think... In some of these circumstances, I don't think your EX winds are necessary. Your EX wind spires. Like, I think your placement of light or EX wind spire should be more based around, like, a defensive play. Which, in this circumstance, is not the worst thing, because you were quite close to the corner. But the value of... They make more sense if there's a decent chance that the opponent will walk into them or press a button that will get clipped by them. And I think that they're less good as, like, just throwing it out. And in this circumstance, he had just whiffed a thing, and he walked backwards for a second. He wasn't probably going to move forwards or hit a button. He had no reason to hit a button here. Like, what button would he even hit? So, I think that, like, encroaching on space... Like, you can save a lot of resources for times where they will make more sense by just walking in and doing, again, crouch fierce, back fierce, stand medium punch. And then occasional drive rush, crouch fierce, drive rush, crouch jab. Drive rush, low medium kick is something that is pretty good. I would say drive rush, low medium kick is an underrated tool. I've never seen a Jamie do that. Again, I don't love the EX command grab there. It made the difference between regenerating your drive gauge back up to here and putting your drive gauge at, like, almost done. Alrighty, next. No anti-air again. In this situation, he did a fake drive rush cancel. It was gapped, so you could have, in this circumstance, there's two things that you can do against characters that are like gonna force mix situations on you through drive rush cancels like this, which is a lot of the cast. One of them is, like, allow them the opportunity to do so, wait until they do the medium or heavy that they're going to drive rush cancel, and then drive reversal it. Like, look for the green flash and then drive reversal it, so that they lose more drive gauge than you and you get them off of you. Or pump a level 1, level 2, or level 3, depending on how you're feeling, in the gap between them in case they do a gap like that. So if you had pumped like a level 3 here, off of this drive rush cancel, you could have, like, put him down to here. Now, I'm not saying that's, like, necessarily the right thing to do, but level 2 probably would have made more sense, but... Again, I don't love that because the risk drastically outweighed the reward there. That was good. Nice. I don't like that cornering. Yeah, there's no reason for that jump there. Just walk up and take, like, normal Oki. Like, you don't have to... Like, you look like in certain situations you're not sure what the correct route is on a combo or, like, the Oki setup. So you do something kind of makeshift, and then it ends up not helping you as much as just taking a simpler, more straightforward Oki situation. Again, the EX command throw puts you in a more detrimental position than needed. It would be much better to just do a regular command throw and then drive rush afterwards. That, if it had blocked or DI, you probably would have been dead. I don't dislike that. I wish that was anti-aired, but okay. Yeah, Lily, dog shit punishes on that. I would say because they sped up her level 1, her level 1 is like her best, most consistent punish on this. I think, yeah, level 1 should have killed here. So level 1 punish on the -11 sweep would have been good. Alright, I do always... We're going to watch that again because this is another point that I point out to all of the people that I talk to. That it's important to look at, like, where you're spending your super. So, we have level 1 now. And where could we have spent super? You could have done level 1 off of that. Right? That they buff that, so now you can juggle off of this scenario. You probably could have killed with a level 1 there. But I understand not being used to that or recognizing the situation immediately. Now it's irrelevant. Next round. So now you have like 1.657 bars of super. And again, Lily is a character that will often struggle to find a good place to use them, which means that it's important to use them when you do have a good opportunity to do so, because if you don't, you'll be sitting on 3 bars to an outrageous degree. So I'm actually going to really quickly take a note. I have my little notepad here, and I'm going to take note of all the things that happen after this point. Or not this point, but anyway, I don't agree with that one. But yeah, we're just looking at supers for now. Alrighty. Okay, after this, alright, you have maxed out on bar. So I'm now going to record on my notepad everything that happens from here on out. So, under J, I'm going to put, throw. Lily, Jamie, okay. Forward throw. Stand medium kick, stand medium punch. So okay. Next. Jump medium kick, crouch medium kick, and stand heavy punch on block. Medium kick, crouch medium kick, stand heavy punch. Stand light kick on hit. Alright. Dive on hit. L Spire. Crouch fierce, 1 hit. Forward heavy kick blocked. Heavy punch 1 for the anti-air. Splash. Crouch light kick. EX grab. Alright, crouch heavy kick. Spire times 2. Splash times 2. Crouch heavy punch from Jamie, and jump HK. Crouch light kick again on block. Sweep on block. Crouch heavy kick. And that should have been the kill anyways with the level 1 punish on that, but... And then another trade, so... Crouch light punch and crouch light kick. I missed that for a second. Stand medium punch on block. And then this should be kill. So that's everything that happened. Then you didn't need any super to kill. So we're going to now go into training mode. And I will demonstrate how much super you actually wasted by holding on to level 3, not using your bar for anything in the match, and then all of those interactions where you were already maxed out so you can no longer build any super. Alright, so okay. So, forward throw, one stand light kick, stand medium kick, medium punch, crouch heavy punch, crouch light punch, and then on block, jump medium kick, crouch heavy kick, crouch medium kick, stand heavy punch, forward heavy kick. And then on your end, on hit, dive. Am I doing the classic inputs or? I am. Okay, I'll have to make sure I don't mess this up. Alright, crouch heavy punch, one hit. Then the first hit of an anti-air, crouch heavy punch. 2 light spires. One drive rush, crouch heavy kick. One jump heavy kick on a trade. Crouch light kick. And then on block. Oh, right, also 1 EX grab. And then on block we have crouch heavy punch, 1 hit. 2 splash. 1 stand medium punch, and 2 crouch light kicks. So that's how much super you would have built if you weren't already maxed out. So you wasted 3 bars by not spending any super throughout the match, and you also wasted an additional 1.7 to like 1.75 bars. So in total, there were 4.75 bars of super that you could have built throughout that you could have used throughout that match that didn't go to anything because you held on to the level 3, didn't build all of this super gauge, and never use your supers for anything. And I point this out to every single player, doesn't matter like what skill level they are. There's an outrageous amount of super waste in every single match that the majority of people play, and it's important to demonstrate exactly how much you're actually wasting by not using your supers. To demonstrate that, like, it's really important when you have the opportunity to use them in a good way, in a strong, like, just flat value way, that you should use them. And again, I kind of vaguely criticized that one level 3 only because you were at full drive gauge when you did it, but the fact that it hit is much more value per bar of super than, you know, what happens a lot of the time with a lot of players and a lot of characters, all players with most characters constantly. The only players that are consistently getting good value for their supers are the ones who are using install characters like Blanca or Rashid. They're the only ones that manage supers well. Every other player doesn't really have a strong perception of how much they're actually wasting or how much value they could be getting when they have the chance to, because they just think like, oh, spending a super to only add like 400 damage with a level 1 and like, I don't know, maybe do a little bit of drive gauge damage, that doesn't seem like much. Well, it's a lot better than wasting 4.8 bars of super. So, you know, think about that, and think about that while you're structuring, while you're keeping in mind your awareness of your super spending and stuff.